Okay, so I'm back with number 3. I wound up hitting stop instead of pause, so here we go with a new video. So going on and continuing on from number 2 to number 3, I've just kept going on the calendar here. So I started with June 4th, which gave me a 1 in the universe. I went to June 5th, which gave me a 2 in the universe when I calculated it. So now we're going to go on to June 6th. So if you can imagine what I was just going in order, we are now up to number 3, but I want to show you how I got there. So if you're taking a number, or I should say a date off the calendar, and you're wanting to figure out what is the universal energy of that day, you're going to take out the zeros, because when we add zeros, we only get it a 0, or we get the same number that we're adding it to. So zeros don't really count for us when we're doing things numerologically. We eliminate those, and we just basically take those out, and we go down to the main number. So if you look at June 6th, 2025, I've got 6 plus 6 plus 2 plus 2 plus 5. When I add those together, it gives me a 21. For those of you who need the math added in, just so I'm not going too fast for you, 6 and 6 is 12, plus 2 is 14, plus 2 is 16, plus 5 is 21. So 21 is still a double-digit number, and we have to break things down in numerology till we get to single-digit numbers. So I just took basically the 21, which is 2 plus 1 equals 3, giving me a 3 for the universal energy of June 6th, 2025. Okay, so as I was discussing in previous videos, I'm going to give you the key words, the key symbols, the energy, the vibration, the processes of what go on for that day. I'm going to give you the colors to wear. Now, as we move on, because we're now on day number 3 and universal number 3, I'm going to start out with the colors so I don't forget them this time around. And basically for the energy of number 3, if you think about, again, we go from red, orange to yellow. Yellow is not the only color that we're dealing with there, but we go kind of more along the blend of primary colors. And again, it's if we're moving up the energy of the chakras, going from, if you look at my chakra girl and here on my logo, you'll see that it's red on the bottom, kind of working its way up to the different colors. So when it comes to numbers, though, we don't just stick with just the yellow color. It kind of more so goes into those, like I said, the primary colors here, and I'm going to give you those so I don't skip any. But these are the colors that you would wear. So when I'm giving you colors, it's more so things that you can wear to be in vibrational alignment with the number of the day, or the number of the day of the universe. Or again, colors associated with number 3, we have honey, right? It's kind of an orangey shade there too. Orange and yellow kind of combined. So you got honey. Any shade of yellow, because I was saying that we get into yellow, it is all and any shades of yellow. It is also the color of burgundy, which I know is weird that it's including it there, but we're literally incorporating all of these 3 colors together, and then what comes next. So we've got burgundy, then we've got pink, because if you think about the fact that we add red plus white together, that gives us pink. There are sometimes shades of orange that combine into that, and it'll literally give you up to those colors of pink as well. So I know it's all over the place. This is like your most rainbow bright, colorful day out of all of them. But we go from the darkest of red, like burgundy, to honey, to the pink color, to any shade of yellow. And then we also get into, I know, strangely enough, leaf green, which is the color of that plant, that snake plant behind me. So if you have anything that's leaf green, those are the colors that are really associated with number 3. Like I said, that is more so like rainbow bright colors than anything. But it's one of the most fun days to wear clothes on, because there's such a variety that you can really kind of mix and match different things, and everything's going to look great because you're combining it together. So I'm going to do the gemstones together because I don't want to forget the colors and the gemstones, and they kind of sort of go hand in hand. So I'm going to give you the gemstones that are associated with day number 3, or number 3 in numerology, not necessarily the day, but because we're associating it with the calendar of, what did I say it was, June 6th. So for June 6th of 2025, the best gemstones to wear for that day, which I know is already passed, but aventurine is great. It's a green color stone to wear. That one was a great color to wear that day. Again, I mentioned in the first video that clear quartz, or maybe it was the second one, but clear quartz is a great stone to wear on any day, but in particular, it happens to be a great stone for day number 2. But again, if you don't know what to wear and you're just kind of like, I don't want to have to change crystals or gemstones every day, and I don't want to have to worry about what I'm carrying. If you carry clear quartz with you on a regular basis, you'll pretty much be covered for any day if you need a little cheat sheet there. So some of the other stones that are covered, again, there's many because they go along those colors, but a big one for that day is amethyst and also turquoise. So again, turquoise is almost in that blue family, but for gemstones, they hold a different energy necessarily than the colors. That's why I said sometimes the colors of the stones don't always have to match, and they don't always get associated with different energies of different planets or different numbers, because literally these gemstones are lining up with the vibration of what planet is in rulership with the numbers that are associated with it. So it doesn't mean that red is a day, I'm sorry, if you wear red today, that you should be wearing ruby, because guess what? Ruby's not one of those stones that are covered. But you could wear the amethyst or the turquoise, the aventurine or the clear quartz with the burgundy shirt or with burgundy pants, tie, hat, whatever the heck you want to wear it with. It doesn't matter. But you can wear one thing. It doesn't have to be a gemstone and the color. It could be one or the other, or you can do it up and wear everything that you want to. I mean, there's days where I'm wearing all of the colors in the gemstones of what's going on. And then there's other days where I don't change any of the stones that I'm wearing on my body, and I only change the colors of my clothing. So I want you to know you have options. You're not limited. So let's get on with the keywords in the symbology and what things mean for number 3, because I want you to have all this information together. Again, I have my trusty little cheat sheet that I've created. I've got my keywords here in front of me because I don't want to miss anything in the information I'm giving to you. So number 3 has to do with, if you think about where we went from the singularity point of 1, and then we had the 2 points of number 2 giving us a line, or being able to have the balance of scales of justice. If you think about it now, we have a point here, and we have now a third point. So now we have the shape of a triangle, right? If you think about what the triangle or the 3 symbolizes in a lot of different things, it is literally the shape of the triangle, which is one of the strongest structures that are out there. And then also it deals with the Trinity. So whether that is Father, Father, Son, Spirit in your belief systems, or mind, body, soul. For me, it's more mind, body, soul, because I don't customize what I do to one particular belief or faith or anything. I'm non-denominational, and I incorporate a little bit of everything in with what I do, because I really feel like it's important to have an open mind into all religions of this universe and what people do believe. But most of what I do is on the esoteric level and on the metaphysical level. It is what is beyond the physical realm of what we physically can see and or touch space with. So this extends into beyond, into the universe and everything else. So I want you to know that I'm not biased towards one over the other. I feel like all religions have their place for those who want to believe in it, what it is. But for the practicality of what we're doing with numbers, it symbolizes Trinity. Now, if you watch The Matrix, you know that there's Trinity in The Matrix. She was given that name in The Matrix for a reason. So again, if you come back and you tie it all together, and you really think about what is the symbolism of the triangle, the Trinity, the structure of it, it gives you support, but it also gives you direction, and every angle is equal inside of that triangle. So we're going to go in and tap into that energy of what it means. So 3 literally deals with self-expression. It is, how do you represent yourself? How do you express yourself? What comes along with expression? How do you expand yourself? So as you express yourself, you get to expand who you are. People get to know about you. They get to learn about what you like, what you don't like, what you're into, what your belief systems are, who you like, what kind of music you like. It really kind of taps into everything, that who you are and what you're about. So if you also think about it from a family dynamic of the 1 being the man, 2 being the woman, and conceiving a child together, that now creates a family bond of now 3. I mean, unless you're having twins or triplets or something. But let's just go with the basics. You have 1 child. You're now going from you're going from an individual to being a couple in whatever dynamic that is. And then you're now having a 3, which is a child incorporated into that family. Now you're actually not an individual. You're not a couple. You're not a duality. You're now a family. So you're actually building upon that structure. And so when you look at it in the basis of how do we build these things, like fundamentally, like what are we building? We're going from a single point to a triangle. And in that triangle, you're expanding yourself. Now, you're not only expanding from being an individual, you're expanding to having a family. And you're now still having to have that child who comes into your space. You're all trying to figure out being independent. Again, it comes into independence. how do we get from being independent as an individual to being an independent family? So here we go into like bringing that kind of dynamic in together. So it doesn't necessarily just mean family, but as you're processing through the number 3, where you're learning how to be more self-expressive, more expansive, you're working on the trinity of whether it's Father, Son, Holy Spirit, mind, body, soul, or something similar. You know, that mind, body, soul connection is how do we come into unity with that? How do we make peace with all 3 of those parts and find, again, balance within those 3 now? We go from a balance of 2 to a balance of 3. So that independence comes along again saying, okay, we now went from a 1 to a 2. We now have to feel like, what is it like to be independent as a number 3, right? So here comes in more communication. Communication is associated with number 3. It is also associated with education. So it's about learning more. It is in so many ways being out in the public eye. It is being seen. It is becoming more well known. So it is also a time to make new friends, having new people come into your life, people who may or may not even know who you are or understand anything about you, but they're drawn to something within you, and that energy comes from being associated with the number 3. It's almost like a magnetic energy where people are kind of just drawn to you and you're drawn to them because you're meeting new people. You're getting a warm reception as you're meeting these new people. So a big thing with number 3 is having that warm reception. It's not only receiving you, but you receiving others as well. So make sure you keep your mind open as you run into new people when you're dealing with day number 3s, the energy of day number 3s. And what comes along with that, you know, as you're meeting new people, I think I may have just said it, but keeping an open mind, because now you're meeting new people. Guess what? That new person can help you with something that you're trying to accomplish in your life, or maybe you're that connecting part for somebody else in their life, and you had to meet or you had to come into contact within that energy of the 3, whether it was a universal 3 or your personal 3. So just mind what you're coming through and you're going through. Just know that when you start to work with these energies, like a day number 3, I might not want to leave the house on a day number 3, but I know that day number 3 is going to be more beneficial to me to go out and start networking, or to possibly run into somebody who I can help or who can help me or provide me with the information of something that I might have been looking for. And even if I didn't leave the house, maybe I had a conference call, maybe I had a Zoom meeting, maybe I had, you know, somebody come deliver something to my house that I was waiting for, and in the process we had a small little conversation, but maybe that was something that touched somebody's life that day. You never know. I mean, we don't know what everybody's going through, but just know that on a day number 3, or the vibration of a day number 3, you want to do the most essential things that can be done that day, things that are going to work and flow with what you're going through. So those days are the days that you don't want to really like screw around and like mess up and just let things flow by the wayside. You want to actually use it to your advantage. Okay, so let's get into the energy of number 4.